Support WrestleTalk!
Join us live when we screen Ready to Rumble from the Prince Charles Cinema in London this coming Tuesday on May 7th. Get your tickets in the link in the description. The year was 2000. The Monday Night Wars between the then WWF and WCW was starting to come to a close, with WWF reclaiming almost all of the fans they had been losing to WCW in previous years. WCW numbers were declining rapidly, a far cry from their dominant reign atop the ratings wars in years gone by. An idea was born, something to ignite the passion for WCW once again and make the old fans fall in love with the product all over again. It was crazy, it seemed impossible, but it just might work. Or maybe not, because the idea in question was the nail in the coffin for WCW, and less than a year later, the company would shut its doors to be bought out by Vince McMahon. WCW funded a movie, but not just any movie, a wrestling movie starring all your favorite WCW wrestlers. DDP, Goldberg, Sting, some guy pretending to be a mixture of Ric Flair and Jerry Lawler? And what was one of the most misguided ideas in the history of wrestling, the universally chastised and lambasted movie called Ready to Rumble was born. The movie is now synonymous with WCW's downfall. So with that said, my name is Chopper Pete Quinnell, and let's take a look at some fun facts you might not know about Ready to Rumble. Ready to Rumble was released to the public on April 7th, 2000. If you're wondering what was happening in the wrestling world around that time, well, on April the 3rd, 2000, just 4 days prior, WWF's Monday Night Raw drew a whopping 6.4 rating, while WCW's Monday Nitro managed their second lowest rating of all time, only drawing a 1.8. As previously mentioned, the movie was received, let's just say poorly to be nice. It had a solid working budget of $24 million, but the movie only managed to gross $12.5 million, marking huge losses across the board. The film was hated by wrestling fans, hated by non-wrestling fans, and even hated by those who worked on the film, including Rose McGowan, who plays the love interest of David Arquette's character. Now, while Ready to Rumble may have featured a whole bunch of WCW wrestlers, let's not forget who the real star is here, and that's David Arquette's character, Gordy Boggs. Gordy Boggs. While the wrestlers can for sure do their own stunts and, take bumps considering that's what they do for a living, Arquette didn't quite have the same luxury. Something you may not have known, however, is who exactly was Arquette's stunt double. According to a WWE.com interview in 2007, Arquette stated that none other than Shane Helms stepped in to fill the shoes of Gordy Boggs. Shane Helms is, of course, most well known for his time wrestling as the Hurricane, the lovable goof who thinks he's a superhero. With the pose. The Hurricane would go on to make an appearance in WWE's Royal Rumble match in 2018, but it's the person who eliminated him from that match that's actually featured in the movie. How's that for a mother-flippin' segue? Hey, so you know how John Cena is like one of the biggest stars ever to be a part of WWE? Like, ever? And now he's a movie star who does stuff like big blockbusters and not so big blockbusters. Isn't it nuts that he made his on-screen movie debut on a WCW-funded movie? Yeah. In the background of one particular shot with Goldberg and not Jerry Lawler, you can see one John Cena lift some weights in the gym. Look at that hair! He's uncredited for his role, but that doesn't stop him stealing the show with all that star presence he has while he lifts those weights. Pumps that iron. Is that what people say? I don't know. I don't work out. Speaking of things that didn't work out, Eric Bischoff was fired from WCW prior to the filming of the movie, but there's a character in it that seems awfully familiar. It turns out the character known as Titus Sinclair was originally going to be portrayed by none other than Eric Bischoff as a dramatized version of himself. Dramatized. Sure, not sure you can get much more dramatic, but sure, we'll go with it. As previously mentioned, the former WCW vice president was fired from the company, so his role was renamed to Titus Sinclair and portrayed by Joe Pantoliano, the obvious replacement, of course. It does seem strange looking back that a WCW-funded project didn't feature one of the main parts of WCW's success and partial failure, but then again, it also didn't feature the NWO, so, you know, could be worse. As we're talking about things that were replaced, funny you should mention that, because for those more eagle-eyed viewers, or those who have normal vision, you may have noticed that the title belt they used for the World Heavyweight Championship in the movie looked a little bit odd. Normally the belt's gold with a slight silver trim around it, but the colors for the movie were actually inverted, so it was a silver belt with slight gold trim, which makes the phrase "hold the gold" a little bit meaningless, don't you think? It rolls off the tongue, but if it's silver, I just need a word that rhymes with silver. But of course, it wasn't just the movie that caused the downfall of WCW, it was the choices made after that really did them in. Genius booker and knower of all Vince Russo had the great idea to bring in David Arquette to promote Ready to Rumble. So far, normal affair. WWE get Miz to plug his show every segment he's in, so nothing to be wary of here just yet. Then, it gets messy. Somehow, someway, someone thought it was a good idea to have David Arquette, actor David Arquette, who plays, lest we forget, not a wrestler but a wrestling fan in a wrestling movie. Someone thought it would be a good idea for him to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, because nothing screams legitimacy like an actor besting your top wrestlers at the thing they've trained at for all their lives. While this decision has been globally panned, as it should, it's worth noting that Arquette didn't make any money from these appearances. All the money he was paid, he gave to the families of the recently deceased Brian Pillman, the late Brian Hildebrand, and paralyzed wrestler Darren Drozdov. He's a nice guy, really. Speaking of nice guys, and during the film itself, a tag match takes place between WCW alumni. The exciting match pits Rey Mysterio Jr. and Billy Kidman against the team of Juventud Guerrera and Prince Ikea, the Prince of Flat Pack Furniture, Prince of Sweden. However, it wasn't all plain sailing for the quartet, as during the course of filming, in classic Rey Mysterio fashion, he legitimately injured his knee. So, you know, that bit earlier when I said, obviously these guys can take bumps because that's what they do for a living. Yeah, well, scratch that, because apparently I know nothing. Turns out though, I'm not the only one who knows nothing, because while Ready to Rumble was the worst thing to ever happen in the history of ever, at least until 2019 when the Sonic trailer was revealed, am I right lads, they actually wanted to double down on it by planning to do a sequel. Can you imagine? AEW has it right, it's double or nothing, but definitely nothing in this case. What would it even be called? Readier to Rumble? Ready to Rumble Get Readier? Ready to Rumble? Oh god, it would have been, wouldn't it? It definitely would have been Ready to Rumble with the number 2. Oh god. It's like Too Fast, Too Furious, but like so much worse. Speaking of worse, and Ready to Rumble very nearly had a different ending to the movie, though I'm not quite sure how you can get worse than Goldberg in his little Speedos, a guy pretending to be Jerry Lawler, David Arquette in a sheriff's outfit, and a dude in a hot tub driving off in a Jeep like some mismatched D&D party, but somehow, this ending might actually be worse than that. In an interview with You Shoot in 2013, DDP revealed that he himself pitched an alternative ending to the movie to Warner Brothers themselves, in which after the culmination of the triple cage match, yep, that's a thing that happens, the main good guy Jimmy King, who, reminder, isn't Jerry Lawler, would ask to see the two idiots who aren't wrestlers to see him in the back. When King arrived in the back, DDP would be waiting for him, whom he just faced in the triple cage match. When it looked like the duo would start fighting again, they would actually hug, and DDP would forgive King for throwing him through the 3 cages. Then Gordy Boggs and the other guy would walk in and be all like, say what? Because these people are actually friends? What? what? Upon which DDP would say, boys, welcome to the business, let's go have a drink. You're exposing the business, DDP! Seriously though, imagine the culmination of the movie just being, and then everyone were friends and they lived happily ever after. Those were some fun facts about Ready to Rumble, but if you want the full experience, make sure to click the link on the screen to get your tickets to join WrestleTalk's screening of the movie at the Prince Charles Cinema this Tuesday, May 7th. Join myself, Ollie, Luke, Laurie, and Randy as we host the movie and partake in a live Wrestle Ramble afterwards. Click the thumbs up, subscribe, enable notifications, and leave us a comment. I've been Pete Quinnell, and that was Ready to Rumble.